Thank you, everyone, for coming out to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the incorporation of the town of Beacon Falls, Connecticut. I'm Fred Simpson, and I'm going to start with some name dropping. Marion Bradley was Beacon Falls' pharmacist for 15 years, caregiver in effect, who went that extra mile for her customers. And Brian DeGeorge, automotive skills, fire chief and fire marshal of Beacon Hose 1. Busy, but always has time to be kind. I wrote this song before moving here. Marion and Brian surely fit the bill. It's called Kindness. What is the name of my religion? Kindness, kindness to my fellow man. Sets me up just like a pigeon at times, yes, but my spirit always wins. And when I do what I know is right, it makes me feel so good inside. Kindness, I'm talking about kindness. Just a little kindness. Try it sometime. Be kind. Homeless lady acting spacey. Could just be loneliness. I'll say hello to her and maybe she and I just might connect. When I do what I know is right, it makes me feel so good inside. Kindness. Talking about kindness. Just a little kindness. Try it sometime. Be kind. Kindness, oh so inconvenient. Makes you late, dirties your hands. Had to ask myself the question, why am I kind again and again? 'Cause I can live with myself that way, and I don't really care what people think or say about my kindness. It comes back to you, kindness, when you least expect it to. Kindness, I give it from my heart. Kindness, I try to do my part, and when I do what I know is right, makes me feel so good inside. Kindness, talking about kindness. Just a little kindness. Try it sometime. Be kind, kindness. Just a little kindness. Talking about kindness. Try it sometime. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for enduring the heat. Thank you. So, we moved here from our New York City high-rise over 5 years ago. I feel like a baby compared to First Selectman Smith, 35 years. Selectman Mike Koneski, whose roots are going back to 1635. Anyway, we moved here from a New York City high-rise over 5 years ago, largely on a whim and with a little push from rising Manhattan rents. Checked it out 3 times, and each time felt right. Only thing I miss is my unobstructed view of sunrise on the East River, where I wrote a book of 24 poems to the sun. This is not one of them. Refreshing novelty for me, a city boy to wait for geese to cross the ramp of Route 8 North's exit 23. Took me a while to realize I could breathe the air in deep. Unlike where we used to be, high above Manhattan's heavily trafficked FDR Drive. Here, No steady din of cars, no buildup of monoxide. Here, the air is sometimes swept with lavender, more often pine. In the valley Naugatuck, low-slung mountains couch a mist so soft, I want to touch. Fairy tale houses nestle among deciduous and pine. Nature hypnotic in these hills that stretch up way too high, impede my line of sight west to east. At dawn it hurts sometimes, I cannot see you rise. But chromatic skies, your canvases are etched indelibly for my recall. So no regrets relocating north to Beacon Falls. In the valley Naugatuck. From camouflage of stubborn November leaves, a muster of crows startles me, a smile. Of all the flora and fauna in the valley, I love the bright white leaves of the dogwood trees, and above all, I love the birds. I hear you birds are singing, soon to be on the wing, heading from New England to far off southern climes. You know when winter's coming and how it brings the snow. Got to learn your lingo to hear when you will fly. Got to learn your lingo so I can tweet goodbye. Spring's a long way off, my friends, until we tweet again. Got to learn your lingo so I can tweet goodbye. Right outside my window is one majestic pine. You love to perch there on return. How I love to watch you. Pleasure is all mine. You know when winter's over and you'll be flying home. Got to learn your lingo so I can tweet hello when I see that you return from far off southern climes. Got to learn your lingo so I can tweet hello. Spring's a long way off, my friends, until we tweet again. Got to learn your lingo, so I'm not surprised to find that you've already flown to far off southern climes. Got to learn your lingo, so I can tweet goodbye. 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 Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, the natural beauty of the landscape in and around Beacon Falls is a poet's dream. Matthews Park, High Rock, and Toby's Pond. Buffered from the highway sounds is Toby's Pond, serene, boating, glide motorless, fish. Landlubbers sit, meditate beneath the open air shelter at water's edge, your mind free to focus or drift. Toby's Pond. Toby, Native American, 12 years a slave, secured New London, Connecticut at 6 years old and raised by Captain Ebenezer Johnson, freed in 1688. Toby purchased from the Pawcatuck tribe, 1693, one large tract of land, mountain and stream, in the valley Naugatuck, on both sides of the river, so named. I want to stand where Toby stood, survey the land he purchased for 10 pounds and a barrel of cider. I want to hear the rushing brook fed by falls not high but beautiful, not steep but deep in how they touch the spirit. their source much older than the town that bears their name. The falls for me are rooted deep, somehow a source of wonder. So, anybody know the real story behind G.I. Joe? I was surprised to learn that G.I. Joe was not based on a real soldier or even an archetype of one. G.I. Joe was a homing pigeon, one of a flying squadron trained by the Pigeoneers of World War II to deliver 215 classified messages during the Italy invasion. I learned this from conversations with Frank Miz, staunch World War II veteran, born in Beacon Falls, and the oldest person I ever knew. He passed away April of 2020 at the age of 103. Frank was part of what I call new history, tidbits and more conveyed by the living, shedding light, clarifying from memory things of the past. Also part of new history was Robert G. Mesner. Some of you firefighters here would know him. Bob of Bob and Betty, known to some as B&B. They were kind enough to invite me into their home where they shared personal perspectives on much town history. Bob passed away in March of this year at 91 years old. He was the longest serving member of Beacon Holes 1 and in several capacities, including engineer and captain of the fire police. Bob was known to be very giving and very handy, always ready and willing to help. The good energy of Bob and Betty Mesner calls to mind those wonderful handmade signs that lined Riverwalk along Main Street. From North Main down to south, from the Depot Street Bridge to opposite the bank called Liberty, was on display the very soul of a town, there for all to see. Along Riverwalk, Main Street's west side, signs handmade with love contained messages of hope and strength and pride. The soul of a town on parade. For those who didn't have a clue, or maybe were just passing through, the signs said it all about the people of Beacon Falls. Across all demographics, signs symbolized the face and heart of us, living legacy of those who persevered through wars, floods, economic strife, whatever came down the pike, persevered with kindness and charm. From North Main down to south, from the Depot Street Bridge to opposite the bank called Liberty, was on display the very soul of a town, reflected in signs handmade, and there for all to see. Across from Riverwalk is Beacon Mill Village. Starting in 1853, and you've heard some of these factories mentioned already. Starting in 1853, the Beacon Mill housed a series of factories. Two were most significant. Through the efforts of Agent John Wolfe, the Home Woolen Company in 1864 was the start of the factory site as economic and social lifeblood of the town. Affixed to 2 North Main Street, a plaque proclaims, "The Home Woolen Company complex has been recorded on the National Register of Historic Places, indicating that this site possesses national significance in commemorating the history of Beacon Falls and the United States of America." Also of note, the Beacon Falls Rubber Shoe Company, which you've heard mentioned earlier, 1898, of the famous Top Notch label that eventually became Uniroyal in 1961. Propelled by George and his son Tracy Lewis, production was up to 5.5 million pairs of what became known as sneakers in 1920. Mid-1980s, the factory site converted to residential occupancy, replete with pool, gym, dog park, tennis court, picturesque stream with fountain, and 182 individual floor plans, many with very high wood plank ceilings. Yes, dog park. Distinguished by 2 19th century Romanesque revival towers, Beacon Mill Village continues the factory tradition of well benefiting the town town, now as the architectural centerpiece of downtown Beacon Falls. Residents, and I am one, can enjoy all its amenities while actually getting to live in history. I consider Toby the early founder of Beacon Falls. His land purchase accounts for much of the town's area and boundaries today. And I consider John Wolfe of Home Woolen and Tracy Lewis of the Rubber Shoe Company visionaries for contributing, each in their own way, to the establishment of Beacon Falls as an independent town. I don't see Mike, but I would like to thank Mike Krineski, President of the Beacon Falls Historical Society, for sharing with me his genuine enthusiasm for the history of this town. And thank you all. Thank you. Thank you for being here in the heat. I'd like to end on a happy note with a happy song. This is called Happy Sound. This is a happy sound for those no longer with us, dedicated to the memory of their love and history, a joyful sound. To those who were creative, continue to inspire us, long after they've returned to dust. To those of us who've gone to higher ground, we send this happy sound, happy sound, happy sound, happy sound, happy sound.
I'll walk there.
And to those who, while among us, reached out and touched us in their everyday routine, always living chin up, although they'd had enough of the pain they did not want us to see. We send this happy sound to those no longer with us, dedicated to the memory of their love and history, a joyful sound for those who were creative, continue to inspire us, long after they've returned to dust. To those of us who've gone to higher ground, we send this happy sound, happy sound, happy sound, happy sound, happy sound. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.